I'm hopping back to the book for a couple of questions.
Sure.
One is about violence.
Yeah.
So I feel like one of the things that this book really manages to do for me as a reader is to witness it, give testimony, but it also manages not to aestheticize or make beautiful or you know what I mean, to glorify in that way. And I think that's a really fine line that a lot of that anybody really writing about violence, but again in this terms of racialized Black death,
right.
to sort of not make it simply a poetic device or a poetic spectacle,
right.
but to somehow again honor it. So talk to me about how you negotiate that as you're writing these poems, and I don't know if you're writing that now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think about violence a lot, right? Because I think that, like, when I think about my own relationship to violence, I think it's a developing relationship. And I think that it's one of like a kind of almost relativism, if that makes sense, right? So I think that the reality is that the world is brutal, and the condition of the world is such that every day that you live, your living is enabled by things dying, right? So that means like you are a kind of violence, right? Like your existence is a kind of violence. So certainly that means that violence produces things, and sometimes things that are beautiful and necessary, or whatever brutal as they might be. But I think it's, again, it is essential that we always remember that that shit is violence, right? So just so that as we're interrogating like the uses and the drawbacks and whatever, that we don't ever forget that this has a cost,
Right.
right? So in the book there's a poem about like me and like my homies, like basically like getting drunk and getting into a fight, like me getting drunk one night and being like, I'm gonna fight all y'all, and then that happening, right? And that's a poem, right? But the thing about that poem is that it's like, yes, it's violent, and it's also like deeply sensual, right? And there's something like I dare I say like erotic about it, but and certainly loving, right? Because these are like, like my homies, right? And the fight is a kind of play, but also like it's not,
Right?
And I think that is always that's always the thing that we're negotiating. And for me, like, as it's important in all times to neither ennoble the violence or like in a way that lets it off the hook, or make it so gruesome that we feel like it's a thing that does not exist, right? Because like that's a thing that produces like poor American history, right? With this notion that like, these notions of heroicism all come from that,
Right, erasure of the violence.
Right.